Before we start the painting, let's take a look at today's requirement list of colors and brushes. So the very first color we are going to use is titanium white. Then comes Mars black. Here I'm using Liquitex basic colors. You can use any good brand of acrylic colors. Then comes the yellow ochre. Here I didn't have a Liquitex basic one, so here I'm using heavy body primary yellow. You can use Liquitex basics also. And this is Indian Terrain blue. Then comes cobalt teal. Then it's the patholic green. Now for the impasto, we are going to use extra heavy gel gloss from Golden. You can use any brand's extra heavy gel gloss, but I would prefer Golden because it has a really good thick quality and a really glossy look to it. These are the 3 knives I'm going to use today. Make sure you have exactly these 3 ones. If not exactly these 3 ones, at least somewhat similar to them. I'm using these 4 brushes. Basically, they are all flat brushes of different size. And one brush for merging the color to make sure the colors are merged properly. If you don't have it, you can always use some makeup brush for blending. Let's start with coloring our background of the canvas. So here basically I'll be doing a gray background for my sunflower. You can choose any color or any background you want. So for having a gray background, I'm usually using a little white, black, and then we will be adding a little blue to it just to give it a little shade. So here the idea is I want to go from a darker to a lighter shade, starting from left to right, because I want to show the light effect coming from right hand side, and it's a little darker on the left hand side because of the light of the sunflowers reflection, the shadow of the sunflower falling on the left hand side. So here I'm also adding a hint of blue to it because I don't want an exact gray color but a bluish gray color to my painting. So very first shade which I'm creating is a little darker bluish gray color, and I'm using a knife to spread the color on my canvas because it's easy to spread color with knife. I'm just adding a little white next to the darker shade of a grayish blue which we have created. You can adjust the shade according to your preferences. Here I am just randomly going ahead and using my knife to cover the canvas. Here, as I already had a darker shade of grey, that's why I'm just using little white over here. Make sure you're not covering the entire canvas with this color because we want to keep the bottom layer white as of now. Now I'm using a flat brush. You can use any flat brush that is available with you. Just random strokes here and there. The main motto behind this step is like I had used a knife to spread the color on my canvas. So I'm just making sure the colors on the background of my canvas are mixed together. I'm just randomly moving my brush. You can see that my brush strokes are clearly visible here. Don't worry about the brush strokes. Don't worry about how it's going to look, because we are going to use a blending brush to blend the color after some time, after we are done with this step. Just make sure the colors are mixed a little over here. This step makes it easy to blend your color going ahead. I'm using this soft brush to blend my colors. You can see that I'm gently using, just I'm not dabbing my brush towards the canvas, but just gently from above I'm just moving my brush over the color so that the colors would get mixed gently and the brush strokes will not be visible anymore. If you don't have this brush, you can always take any makeup brush that's available in Dollar Tree or any other store. Just gently move your brush over the colors. Don't dab your brush towards the canvas, just gently, no pressure at all. You can see now like the shades which are formed are like darker to lighter as we move from left to right, and the brush strokes are not visible anymore over here. You can keep doing this step until you are satisfied with the background color and you think that now it looks perfect or now your brush strokes are not visible. I'm continuing for a little while as I was not satisfied with the background. I'm just showing you that we can also accomplish this results with some makeup brushes, so I'll be using some makeup brushes also going ahead to show you. If at a point you think that your brush is filled with colors, just go ahead, clean your brush, make sure the brush is entirely dry, and then again continue the same step. Here, just to show you, I'm using a makeup brush over here which I had purchased from Dollar Tree for just $1 or so. You can also use this for blending as the previous brush, so there's absolutely no difference between using that previous brush and this makeup brush. Whichever is available with you is absolutely fine. You can see like blending using this makeup brushes and the soft brushes gave a really soft look to our background over here. I'm gently moving my brush over the colors, no pressure at all. You can keep doing this step until you are satisfied with the background blend and you can no more see your brush strokes, and you can see that the color gradient goes from darker to lighter. Gently keep doing this step until you are satisfied. Make sure you're cleaning your brush whenever it's required, because brush will contain a lot of colors when you're trying to blend this, and if it has a lot of colors it won't blend properly, so you need to clean your brush and make sure it's absolutely dry before you again use it. Now we have completed our top layer with blending and all the things. Let's start with the bottom layer. So here I'm just covering the portion which we had left in our previous video with white color. I'm using flat brush to cover this. Here you can use any size of flat brush as long as you are able to cover that area. I'm using Indian 3 in blue over here on top of white. Here I'm trying to blend the colors on the canvas itself instead of mixing it on the palette. We're trying to create a little lighter shade of blue, and we are trying to keep it a little light than our top background layer because we want to show this part as the surface. So this part is absolutely optional, and there's no exactly right or wrong how you're supposed to do this one. You can just go ahead and add a little blue and a little gray and try creating some shades over here, but make sure that this layer should be lighter than the top layer which we have created. I'm also using a little teal color here to give a soft look to it instead of a dark. So teal and Indian Train blue makes our bottom layer look a little lighter. The same way we used a blending brush to blend the colors, we are using your makeup brush to blend all the colors which we had put on our canvas. Here I'll go ahead and add a little more colors as I'm not satisfied with the colors which with the way it is looking. You can stop over there if you think your bottom layer looks absolutely fine and you are satisfied with how the outcome has been. Here we are using the same technique we used on our upper layer for the background. We are just using a flat brush and putting some colors on our canvas, and then using a blending brush to blend all the colors to make sure that our brush strokes are not visible anymore. Here we are done with our background layer, so let's start with painting our vase. I have used a little pencil work over here to make sure that the shape of the vase is correct. So if you're comfortable directly painting on your canvas, that's absolutely fine. I'm just using an Indian Train blue over here. I'm not adding anything to it using my flat brush. I'm just going ahead and making sure the shape of the vase is filled with blue color. Here, if you don't want this blue color, you can select any other color you want, but I feel that blue goes very nice with yellow colors of the sunflower. That's why I selected blue over here. I'm spraying a little water in my color because I'm using heavy body acrylics over here. So heavy body acrylics are usually a little more thicker than Liquitex basics. If you don't have heavy body acrylics, it's absolutely fine. You can always use Liquitex basics colors. I'm just making sure that the entire area of vase is covered with blue color, which is our first step. Here we are using flat brush because using flat brush really makes it easy to fill the color in the required shape. Here we have almost covered our vase in blue color. Now going ahead, we need to show a little reflection in our vase because we don't want our vase to be like one dimensional. We want it to look a little 3D where shadow is falling from one end and there's a little light effect on our vase. So I'm using a little white over here. I'm mixing white with blue and making sure the right side of the vase is a little lighter blue in color instead of dark blue to show the light effect. As you can see, I didn't mix much of a white. I'm using the same flat brush over here to mix a little white into blue. I'm just going to make sure that from the extreme left and extreme right of the vase, there's a little lighter blue effect of the color to make sure that it gets a nice 3D look. I'm continuing the same thing on the left side as well, using the same flat brush. Here I was feeling that the color became a little more lighter at the center, so I wanted to cover it in a little darker blue color so that the effect of light colors on both the ends of the vase will be visible. You can select whichever shape of vase you are comfortable with. It's not compulsory that you should do exactly what I did, but make sure whichever shape you choose, you make sure it looks a little 3D and not one-dimensional by adding a little lighter effect from both the sides of the vase. Make sure that one side of the vase has a little more lighter effect than the other side. Here I was not satisfied with the length of the vase. I thought that maybe the vase is looking too shorter compared to the sunflower which I'm going to paint. Now here let's prepare our paste for sunflower impasto. I am using golden heavy body gel. The reason behind using golden extra heavy gel here is I want my sunflowers to be a little shiny. I love them a little glossier and a little shinier. If you don't prefer your sunflower to be glossier or shinier, you can always use molding paste instead of extra heavy gel gloss. I have taken 50% of extra heavy gel and now I'm adding other yellow color like the basic yellow and the yellow ochre. Here you can select the color of the sunflower as per your wish. Some of them like it more like yellow orangish, but I wanted to try a little different shade. So it's absolutely fine if you want to use any other color combinations over here, or if you want to use just yellow or yellow plus orange or yellow plus ochre. Just make sure you're taking 50-50 combinations of both of this paste and the colors. Take a big knife as I am taking and mix the color and the molding paste nicely, or the extra heavy gel nicely. The reason for this mixture and for me showing you the details of how I am preparing this is the paste and the color need to really mix up really nicely so that there are no lumps remaining and you can't figure out the difference between the paste and the color. I'm trying to add a little more yellow because I think it became a pretty much too ochre. Make sure you nicely, slowly, steadily, calmly mix the mixture, leaving no lumps in your paste. because if there are no lumps in your paste, your sunflower will look flawless. Now let's start painting our sunflower. So initially I have just marked the center of the sunflower using black color, just painted it using basic black. Now we'll take impasto paste which we had created in the knife. So have a careful look at the way I am taking color in my knife. I'm making sure that I'm scraping color from both the ends of the knife and making it smooth from behind before pasting it on my canvas. Scrape it from both the ends and then place your knife on the canvas in a way that it forms a sunflower petal. Repeat the steps for every petal. Now while you're drawing this petal, make sure that you are adjusting yourself according to the direction of the petal in which you want to make that impasto sunflower. Here I'm twisting my hands depending upon the direction of the sunflower petal, but if you're not comfortable doing this, you can always move your canvas and make sure your petals are forming perfectly. We are repeating this step. If you want, you can add more petals to the sunflower also. Let's start painting our next sunflower using the same technique we had used it for the first sunflower we made. Scrape the colors from both the end of the knife, make it smooth, and then place your knife on the canvas. Now here, while you're painting the petals, there is no specific technique that how far you need to place your petal. If you're not comfortable, if you're not sure how to draw these sunflowers, which directions they should face, you can always see a reference picture. Always keep a reference picture in front of you so that it will be helpful to you in order to make sure that the placement of the sunflower is proper and it's looking nice. Scrape the color from both the end of the knife and gently place your knife on the canvas. Now while you're scraping color from both the end of the knife, make sure you're taking enough color in your knife, because if you have less color in your knife, the background of the canvas will be visible and your sunflower won't look that good or that dense. Repeat the same process for all the petals of the sunflower. Relax, enjoy the process, slow down a little. Adjust your canvas or maybe your hands, or maybe you can turn according to the shape of the sunflower and according to your comfort. Here you can see a glossier shine on your sunflower. This is because we have used the extra heavy gel instead of molding paste over here. Repeat the same process for all the petals of the sunflower. Take enough color in your knife to make sure your sunflower looks enough healthy. Now we are making another sunflower using the same technique we have used for the second sunflower. Scrape the color from both the ends of the knife and gently place your knife on the canvas. Now here, if you are not comfortable with using knife, you can always try this on your palette before you are actually placing your petals on the canvas. The process is simple. You just need to scrape color properly from both the ends of the knife. Make sure it's smooth from the behind and gently place without any pressure your knife on the canvas, and there comes out a perfect petal of sunflower. Take enough colors in your knife. Here we are continuing to paint a sunflower from the previous video. Observe the way I am scraping colors in the knife. I'm scraping it from both the ends and making sure it gets a tip at the end so that it becomes a shape of sunflower over here. Gently take your time. There's no need to hurry, like scraping the colors in your palette, because your impasto paint won't dry out quickly. Now here, depending upon the direction of the sunflower, you need to adjust your knives or maybe your canvases, or maybe you can try turning yourself to get into the shape of the sunflower you're intending to draw. Here I've chosen to use the extra heavy gel. You can also use some molding paste if you want, if you're comfortable using that. Here I'm trying to draw another sunflower by coloring its center part in black. You can use any flat brush to do this. Now here, while you're doing this, it's not necessary to look at the perfection of the center portion, because it's anyway going to get covered with the petals of sunflower. Now here I'm just randomly placing the sunflower here and there. If you're not sure about where to place your sunflower, you can always look at the reference picture. One more thing to notice here is don't make excess of impasto paste for drawing the sunflower. You can make it as per your requirements, because initially when you're trying to paint impasto, it's like you don't get an idea like how much paste you're going to require for covering the entire painting. So you can prepare the paste in batches, and that's absolutely fine. Take enough color in your knife. So here, when I am drawing the petals, I'm making sure they are thick enough and they are placed next to each other. Now here we are done with our sunflowers. We'll continue with drawing some stems to our sunflower, because we can see there is some space between the sunflower, so we need to draw the stems. So I haven't shown the entire process of painting the remaining sunflowers because I think so we are using the same technique, so you can draw the remaining sunflowers according to your wish, wherever you want to draw them. So here, while we are drawing the stem, we are assuming that there's light coming from one end. So due to this reason, we need to show this effect on our stems. So we are going to draw one end of the stem a little darker and the other end of the stem a little lighter, as there's light coming on the stems from one end. I'm just basically trying to draw a simple stem showing that the sunflowers are connected with the stem and going right into the vase. So before doing much details into the stem, I'm making sure that initially I'm just using one color to draw the stem to make sure that how will the stems look. So here I'm using a light green color. So basically it's going to be a combination of darker green, light green and yellow. We're not going to use yellow directly, but in combination of light or dark green. There, while you're painting the details of the sunflower stems, make sure you are using a tiny brush, a detailed brush, so that you can show the details nicely. Also, I've made a few leaves here and there before starting to paint the stems here. Now, if you're pretty much familiar with palette knives and you're comfortable with palette knives, you can also go ahead and draw these stems using knives instead of painting them with brush. It's absolutely your choice. In my case, I prefer to use a brush because I didn't wanted my sunflowers to get too gaudy, or like I don't want too much things together in my painting. So I wanted to keep it simple so that my focus would remain on the sunflower. Just make sure you're going from darker to light here. So we have come to an end of this beautiful impasto sunflower painting class. Do try out this painting and try to paint your version of sunflower impasto using the techniques that I've taught in this class. And do share your work with me, and I would love to see your versions of sunflower impasto. And I hope you like it, and I hope you leave a review or feedback on my class. That would help me improve my class going ahead and help improve my techniques of teaching, as I'm pretty new to this. So thank you so much for watching my class.